Hi, I'm Reba from the Mystery Box Show. Today's storyteller not only blew us away when he shared his story on our live stream, but he also enticed the audience with a personal show and tell at the after party. We'll be posting that video soon, but for now, please enjoy Tofer Clark.
About a year ago, I came home from work and I started my typical nighttime ritual coming home from work. That was stripping naked, hopping on the bed, looking at some porn, and masturbating. One particular night, I started thinking about what I was doing. And I realized most of the time while masturbating, I wasn't achieving orgasm. It was still fun, but I didn't have a lot of happy endings. So I started thinking about the time that I was putting in. And I calculated out that I was using up about 9% of my time playing with myself. And I realized that I wanted to try some other things. I was single, wanted to try some other things, and I needed to come up with a plan, an idea. Well, going back about 6 years ago, I was married, and my wife and I got to a point in our relationship where she wanted more sexual activity. However, because of some medications that I was on, I had difficulty responding and things like that. So she and I had a discussion. I realized it was an important part of a relationship. And I said, I really just don't know what turns me on. And she said, well, check out some porn, see what you find. Let me know. So the next few days when I had time, I got on and looked at some porn and typical old school stuff. But then one day I happened to go past this picture and went to the next picture, but then something went off in my head and I went back to the picture beforehand. And I saw something I had never seen before. And I zoomed in, and there on the guy's penis was some sort of contraption that was holding everything in. It encapsulated his actual penis, and the balls were wrapped up with something. And I just kept on looking at it and thought, what in the world is this? So I kept on looking for something similar, and I started finding more and more and more pictures, but I didn't know what it was. So delved in a little deeper, found out it was male chastity. And it was showing the male chastity devices. And the more I looked at them, the more excited I got. I found myself at work during break looking at these pictures, and I was getting hard just looking at the pictures. And I would look at this type of device, chastity device. I would look at that type of chastity device. There weren't a whole lot of different variations back then. They boiled down to basically three different types: the belt type, which think about the medieval, one that can be just a sheath held on by a piercing, and then the typical, which is called a ball trap, has rings and then a sheath that goes over the penis. And that's the one that I just was enamored with. So I went home and I started talking to my wife, and I told her about this. And she thought, no, I don't know about this at first. But then I started showing her pictures, and she got interested. And then I lifted up the sheets and showed her I had a raging erection. And I think at that point she was hooked. So we started looking at different brands. What kind was I going to get? And we finally decided on this one particular one. She was in agreement, and we ordered it. She said order it, so we did. And I even talked her into paying for the express delivery. And it came from the West Coast. So express delivery still took a little bit. But I was tracking it on my phone and I saw it had been delivered. And right about the same time that I saw it had been delivered, my wife texted me and said, 2 words, it's here. I packed up work and I went home. Luckily, it was Friday. I could get off a little bit early. Went home, and there it was. This box, plain Jane brown box, and I opened it up, and there were all kinds of pieces in there. We took it back to our master bedroom, master bathroom. I started opening up the different packages, looking at all the different parts, and I thought, this is going to be like putting something together from IKEA, and it had no directions. So while I'm trying to figure it out, she's on her phone Googling. I'm trying to slide a ring up underneath my testicles and then had to put another piece on the top and then some pins in the back. And there's different sizes of everything. And on top of that, I had a raging erection. So whenever I was trying to get the actual sheath of the chastity device on my penis, it was just not working. Well, 45 minutes later, after calming down, using some cooling devices like frozen peas, finally managed to get it on. And I could not have been happier. There it was. My penis was now fully ensconced in a male chastity device. And what it did to me was maybe it just magnified the fact that I had a penis because I couldn't feel it. I couldn't touch it. It was just there, and there was not a dab burn thing I could do with it, which just drove me mad. It was fantastic. Well, we decided at that point, let's go to Walmart. So we loaded up the van and loaded up the kids, and off to Wally World we went. And I'm walking along and thinking, hey, this is great. I'm probably the only guy in this Walmart with a male chastity device. And I'm walking around, and I think we were in the home goods section, and it slipped off. Luckily, I had on shorts, and I was able to grab it, retrieve it before it clattered to the floor. And I leaned over to tell my wife that it had fallen off and I needed to go put it back on. She's not exactly the quiet type, and I don't know how many people nearby heard, but I did go out to the van in the parking lot of the Wally World, and I got it back on. Thankfully, I had a spare key with me. So got it back on, and things were great. It was exciting for me. It was exciting for her. We got into some BDSM stuff. I had absolutely no problem being a dominant over her, flogging her ass, while she still kind of controlled my release from chastity jail, so to speak. And things were doing really good. It was just a fantastic thing. And moving on to about a year ago, I was single and ran into the problem 9% of my time. That's ridiculous. So I thought about it, and I went back and I started looking up male chastity devices again. And I looked through, and there were so many more variations. And I ended up finding some from a company in Switzerland. And they let me custom order a size of a ring and a size of a sheath. And I even paid to have a special translucent black device. Amazing. And paid for it to come from Switzerland as quickly as possible, which is really not that quick. But the same thing happened again in that I found out that it arrived, and I knew it arrived, but they didn't leave it at my house. They took it back to the distribution center in Raleigh. So I packed up work. Luckily, I could get off work, and I drove an hour to the distribution center in Raleigh. I knew exactly what shelf it was on based on what told the girl where it was. She went and got it, brought it out to me. I went and got in the truck and opened it up, and oh my goodness, what a thing of beauty. Came home, and I immediately put it on. I had Googled previously to know how to do some certain things on how to get it on quicker and proper way of wearing it, things like that. And I ended up putting it on, and it felt great. And then other things happened. I didn't come home from work and strip naked and masturbate. I did come home from work and strip naked, but I cooked and I cleaned, and I even scrapbooked. I made scrapbooks. And the thing that I came to realize that this small contraption that 6 years ago I had no idea what it was, but it completely turned things around sexually. It did one more thing, and that's the irony behind the entire male chastity device for me. By locking my cock, I set myself free.
Thanks for watching. Tell us what you thought of Tofer's story in the comments below. And if you'd like to support us, please find us on Patreon, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and hit that notification bell so you can be up to date on all of our confession corners and live streams. See you next time.